stuck in traffic. We will continue. I will first turn it over to GHD to talk about the rules of the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Merlot. Good morning, everyone. This is Connor Benny with GHD. I'd like to wish a warm welcome to everybody joining us for today's February board meeting. As a reminder, this meeting will be recorded. And to start things off, I'd like to introduce a couple of housekeeping measures. Number one, to reduce the amount of background noise, we kindly ask you to stay muted until you're ready to speak. And at the time you're ready to speak, please state your name and affiliation for the record. At this time, I'll begin taking a roll call, starting with the board members. After I say your name, please say here or present. I'd like to start with Debbie Lombardo.
Here.
Bill Hanley.
Present.
And Tim Donovan. Here. Thank you, board. I'll now move on to our regular attendees, starting with Peter Merlot.
Present.
Jack McMahon.
Present.
Balad Arrow.
Present.
Charlie Martirano.
Present.
Damon Sykes.
Present.
David Hill.
Present.
Doug Foltz.
Present.
Kelly Lee.
Present.
Bill Ferguson.
Here.
Stephen Waldvogel.
Present.
Dustin Steiner. Matthew Adams.
Present.
Damon Rand.
Present.
And Roger List.
Present.
Now I'll move on to anybody who I didn't call on the call. Oh, Michael S.
Present.
I'll move on to anybody that I didn't call, starting with Diane Mackey.
Present.
Thank you. Rosa Peasy.
Present. Corporation
Thank
Counsel
you.
Rosa Peasy, thank you.
And Makai Becker. Thank you, everybody. I think that's all, so I'll pass it back to Mr. Merlot.
Thank you, Connor. Again, Pete Merlot, Principal Engineer, Secretary to the Buffalo Water Board. We will begin, if you want to take a look at today's agenda. We're going to move through the first two items, which is the approval of this agenda, as well as the approval of the minutes from the January 14, 2026 meeting. We'll move those to a later time when our fourth board member shows up, who I believe Stephen he's on his way.
Yes, he should be here momentarily.
Got you. So if we can move to item 3, public comment period. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address the Buffalo Water Board?
Yes. I'm Diane Mackey. I'm a resident and I had some questions concerning the new added fee on our water bill. And I was directed to go to the water board because it was your decision to put that new fee on our bill.
Could you be more specific? What is the fee?
I'm sorry?
Are you referring to is it the infrastructure charge?
Yeah, probably.
Yes. I'm just questioning why we are getting charged $15 every billing period. When I contacted customer service, they originally told me that it had to do with the lead pipe replacement, which I got information through a letter from the city of Buffalo asking me to call a number to get my water tested, that it was possible lead in my water, and that testing, and if there was a need to replace, would be free of charge. And the next water bill that I got, there was this $15 charge on it. I'm quite upset about it because there's been a lot of mismanagement that's been exposed in the department in terms of funds. And excuse me, I know there has been millions and millions and millions of dollars from multiple sources given to the water board, especially for the lead pipe replacement. So I don't know why it's being put on the back of residents again to make up for whatever money is lacking. So I'm looking for some answers to that.
Diane, this is Stephen Waldvogel. I'm the engineer to the board. Can you hear me?
Uh, Slightly, yes. I'm listening closely because I don't hear you real loudly, but I can hear you. Go ahead.
So, you made a lot of claims, and I would be happy to go through each one carefully and slowly and individually, privately at any time. I can try my best to answer them now, but there's some misinformation I think that you have, and I am confident that we have very clear and auditable answers and results we can show you. In short, the capital infrastructure fee is because the water board is facing upcoming capital investments approaching $400 million. And that's without any lead service line replacements. So the fee is intended to help the water board fund necessary capital improvements in a very old water system. Some of those improvements will include water main replacements, water storage tank upgrades, pumping upgrades, electrical upgrades, all of which are absolutely necessary to maintain the service that we provide throughout the city. In addition to that, the water board has been, for some years now, replacing lead service lines under different programs. Okay, the water board really has not received much funding for lead service line replacement. So that's one of the bits of maybe misinformation you have. There's only been 2 tranches of money that they've received. One was back in 2016 for about $600,000 from New York State. Another one which was received from New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation and New York State Department of State for about $11 million, which is currently under design and will likely be spent this summer on a project on the east side, okay? The water board has of its own money spent in excess of $20 million over the last 6 years or so replacing lead lines. Please remember, the lead lines are all private property. So the water board has spent its money to help the most vulnerable, most needy customers. That's a policy that is being reviewed presently because there are tens of thousands of lead service lines in the city that are all private property, and the board needs to figure out how to deal with that. Finally, the water quality that the water board puts out is very high. It meets all the standards, exceeds the standards, and there is no lead in the water. All the lead is found in the private lines that serve the homes or are in the homes. If the water is stagnant for long periods of time, there is a possibility that some lead corrodes into the water. To deal with that, a resident should simply flush their line every day, and that will eliminate almost all chance of lead exposure. Now, like I said at the start, there's lots here, and I'd be happy to talk with you privately so that we don't take the board's time, but hopefully that was helpful.
Well, can you give me an avenue to talk with you privately? Because I don't also want to take up the whole meeting, because I do have a number of questions.
Yes.
And I don't want to take up.
Thank
sorry?
you, thank you for that. I'll get your email from the staff here, and I'll contact you by email, and then we can talk on the phone.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Any other participants from the public that would like to address the board at this time? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item 4, staff update. David. Or Doug.
Sure. Good morning, Board. Doug Foltz, Veolia Operations. Staffing is holding from the previous meeting. We do have an updated headcount from Department of Public Works. As noted on page 17 of the board report, we're currently at 81% of our target staffing and 74% of our budgeted staffing. We do have a few more positions that we're looking to fill. We are actively working with DPW Commissioner and their staff to identify candidates and backfill these positions. If there's any questions from the board, I'd be happy to take them.
Thank you, Doug. We're gonna move past item 5 and 6. Both of those are items that are requiring water board action. So let's move on to our next discussion item, which is item 7, which is the monthly report from GHD. Stephen.
Stephen Waldvogel, GHD. Thank you, Peter. As I suppose many of you know, there's quite a bit that GHD has been assisting the board with. I'll give you just a few highlights, and then most definitely, we can entertain questions if you have any. Over the last month, there's been a large focus on the engineering reviews and documentation in preparation of the upcoming bond sale. We've been in a number of meetings weekly, or more than weekly, going through those documents and providing the necessary engineering opinions to the market and the financial companies. Along with that, I've been working with Roger. Roger's here. I know many of you have met him virtually, but take the time to meet him in person today. He is your new rate consultant, and I have been really pleased working with him. He's done a phenomenal job in a very short period of time. As a broader kind of update, GHD working with Peter is about to put the chlorine project on the street for bidding.
Yes, sir.
I won't say any more than that.
I think we're gonna advertise a week from Wednesday.
We have also had Stoll complete its asbestos inventory survey of the facility, so we have their report, and I don't know if we updated you on that before. That will help the board moving forward. If there are any other capital improvements, we've already pre-identified the asbestos risk, and a number of other things behind the scenes. Dustin, I know that you're still a little bit under the weather. Is there anything you'd like to report?
Yes, thank you, Stephen. Dustin Steiner, GHD. Good morning, board and everyone attending. Just an update on the electrical improvement capital project at Colonel Ward. Continuing to move forward. We are working on the installation of the motor high service pump motor starter relays and programming of those relays, and we should have those relays programmed either by the end of the week or sometime next week. I've also been assisting and coordinating and communicating with Veolia as it relates to the 16-inch wash water line repair at the filtration plant head house. Be happy to answer any questions. If not, thank you very much, board.
Okay, that's it from us. Any questions, further discussion? All right, thanks, Peter.
Thank you, Stephen.
Should we note for the record that we have a quorum now?
Yes, we do have a quorum. All right, now that we have a quorum, we're gonna jump back up to item 1. Well, I'll give, Brian, you wanna go to 8 first, or are you all set to?
No, go,
Okay.
whatever order you like. Yeah. Go ahead.
So we have an agenda in front of you. We've been discussing that agenda. If I can have a motion to approve that agenda, that would be great.
Yeah, let's make a motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Debbie, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 2 is the minutes from the January 14, 2026 meeting. Those were distributed prior to the meeting. They're also attached in front of you. Any questions regarding those minutes and anything that was discussed at the last meeting, board? I don't have any questions, and I have a motion to approve.
Debbie will make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, board. Now let's move to item 5. This is the GHG amendment to the annual retainer. There was a letter circulated as part of the package. It's in here. I'm going to turn over to Steve Walvo to discuss the services that are, Stephen, thank you, very clearly defined, and thank you for your continued working with the board on many issues that you are. So,
Yeah,
There you
thank you, Peter. Stephen Waldvogel, GHD. Consistent with previous years, GHD has been retained as your third-party engineer, in part for oversight of your contract with Veolia, and in addition to other services we provide. Based on the Water Board's previous guidance, we typically submit a not-to-exceed budget, which collectively we think may not be sufficient for the year, which then requires us to come back around mid-year to review progress with you and, if necessary, seek an amendment to get to the end of the year. So it's kind of a built-in check and balance that the previous board liked to follow, okay? Because some of the services we provide are on call, essentially, and some are hard to define upfront. And it provides the board with the ability to respond and some flexibility to deal with issues as they arise. So as we talked last week, we are approaching the previously approved limit. We will be fine through the month of February. I don't expect to reach the limit even in this month, but I would say early next month, we will exceed the limit of your authorized budget. And so before you is an amendment to increase the authorized limit based on an estimate that will get us through the end of the year. I would be happy to go through the many items. I can provide other backup as necessary, but for now, for the sake of time, I'll just answer questions if you have any. So I'll stop there.
No, I mean, Stephen, I certainly know the work that you do and, you know, the firm does on behalf of the water board. To me, this is just part of the discussion we've been having, you know, piecemeal since I've been on the board, is staffing. You know, GHD is doing duties that they probably shouldn't be doing outside of their scope, or it's been added to their scope. So I'm fine with the item. I just think we have to look at that moving forward as far as some administrative type staff for the board itself. So Stephen isn't doing everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Any other questions, board members? One here. In fact, do I have a motion to approve?
Can't make a motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6 is the Friday extension to the electrical contract that you heard Dustin Steiner referring to. We'd like to increase that time currently to July 31st, 2026. That will allow us to complete that project. Currently, we are holding up the contractor, waiting to do some maintenance on some pumps and incorporating those costs into that contract once the money comes from the bond sale. So once that happens, we will be able to maintain the motors on those pumps and finalize the electrical improvements to the control panels associated with those. This will allow that time. We will have an increase to the contract at a later date for that additional work. But at this point, since we are close to the end of the contract officially, we'd like to extend that to July 31st. So at this point, it's a no-cost extension for today's item. Any question, boards, on the project? And in fact, if you want, we can go see and take a look at some nice brand new electrical panels if you wanted to.
Peter, let me just mention, This is Charlie Martirano, counsel to the board. Our firm has represented Friar Electric on different matters, have nothing to do with this particular contract, just as a point of disclosure. And we have no comment otherwise with regard to what you're doing.
And Piero, on the item, you said in future there will be an increase in the contract, and that's for additional work. It's not, or.
No, what we're doing is there was some maintenance work that we were originally gonna do with the limit account. And it was actually improving, and it was capital work to clean those motors. But the limit accounts were so tight that we wanted to incorporate this work under the capital program, and we actually incorporated some bond funds in to do that. But the bond sale continues to get delayed, and it's delayed now to the point where we have to hold off to do that and incorporate those funds in there. But I'll probably bring the agreement to you at the next meeting and get that lined up so I can process that change order as soon as that sale happens, April 2nd.
So I'm glad you just said change order. So it's not really a change order. It's for work that was outside of the original scope, correct?
Yes, unfortunately, the language that has been utilized here is anytime we increase the contract value, it's called a change order. It's really just increasing the appropriate scope.
Sure, but the sewer authority does it as well. And I just think and they had several, late in the year. I just think for, the optics and the public perception of that, it seems like, that there's some history of these vendors or contractors coming in and lowballing and then doing change orders when it's actually an additional scope of work that's being added.
More often than not, these contractors are doing additional work identifying the project that wasn't there, wasn't
Right.
bid. And these are things, as far as I'm concerned, are needed on the site. So actually, I'm glad they're able to work with us and we can come to a price based on the costs that are determined are based on prices that were bid anyway. So as long as we can prove that it was outside that apples to apples comparison, it is truly additional scope.
Right.
It is that we're not paying the contractor for work they already bid on.
I'm just thinking if we look at some different language moving forward.
I
just when
would have
these
no
items
problem with
come
that.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get killed for that language.
Right. Okay.
I appreciate it. So in the future, we will be requesting a scope increase to that contract. But at this point, we're just looking to increase the time just to kind of give Fry comfort that they're not gonna proceed outside that contract time. Any other questions, board? Now, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the extension.
Do I have a second?
Lombardo, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, board. Before we move on, Brian, just for your information, we did go through public comment period. We had Diane Mackey that called, just questioning the infrastructure charge, just questioning our lead service program. Stephen did a great job kind of explaining the big picture, and you were going to reach out to her at a later date to talk in a little more detail. There was no other public comments. Staff update, we're at 85% in the board report, and then GHG just gave their update. So I don't know if you had any other questions on those items, Brian, before we move on.
You know
to
if
the
Ms.
next one.
Mackey is from Dallas? Is that, if that's her address?
I can ask her.
No, that's okay. I
No, I don't know.
Saw it in the comment period. Okay.
All right. Thank you, board. Move on to item 8, monthly report from Veolia Water. Mr. Hill.
Yes, thank you, Peter. David Hill, Veolia Water. We start off with collections this month. But I want to point out something. Just be aware that the bill charges were very high this month because we billed out flat rates on the first of the month. And we normally bill it out on the 5th of the month. So we got a lot of charges, 3.3 million probably, that are higher than what we normally have. Makes the collection rate look rather low. But when you back out those charges, we hit about 9,800%. So, going to be low this month, but we're going to be much higher next month, obviously.
And David, when you
Just a
do
tiny-
that, are you keeping the arrears separate? Like last month, when you said it was, $1 million in additional collections? I mean, my assumption is that's vast majority is from the arrears
Not necessarily, because we had a rate increase. So, I mean,
I guess is
Mr.
there-
Sykes, you want to handle this question?
Yeah, I guess, because I just want us to be able to keep track of what we're getting from those accounts that are in arrears, versus current, monies owed by customers.
Yeah, this is Damon Sykes from Veolia, supervisor of the billing department. Can you hear me all well enough?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So the question is about what we bill out on a monthly basis. So the very first component of when we send a bill out on a daily basis is that you have 30 days to pay. And so when we bill something out today, or something that appears on the board report, on the board report right now, it's a snapshot in time. So you would have to at least figure it's going to take 30 days for those dollars to work through the system for them to make a payment. So the dollars we billed out in the month of December, we're seeing that in the month of January as revenue. Now, if they do not pay us, then it becomes an accrual issue of a past due, of being past due. In our second report that we have up there is the accounts receivable, the aging accounts receivable, where we're slotting it based on days outstanding beyond the 30-day window in which you pay normally. So that's how we keep the distinction between whether you're on time within the 30 days or it becomes aged. And we're showing that on the aging report as far as the dollars are outstanding. So we're always keeping a track of where we're at. We always know who that is on an individual basis because we can then run reports. For instance, we're instituting the past due reminders, anything over $1,000, and that usually takes about a year to build up. So even in that, we always have control of who those individuals are and how much it is, and they're going to be being reminded of a past due reminder. Additionally, this month, and I don't want to steal Dave's thunder, but we have also instituted the disconnection letter as well, which is another layer to show a customer that they're behind payment. And that's going to be on day 60 that we're going to be issuing those letters out. So again, we're always in control of it. We know who they are and how much it is. Does that
Where I'm
answer your
going,
question?
no, so where I'm going is we have this criteria, correct? We have,
Yes.
12 months over $1,000. That's a universe of customers that I would like to be able to track as far as once they get these communications, once they get this letter, who's paying out of that universe compared to those that are behind 30 days. I'm talking the collections universe.
Well, if you're in your 30-day window, you're making payments. I mean, that's the good thing.
I'm not referring to 30 days.
You're trying to differentiate between.
I'm referring to the customer universe that is based on that are getting communications based on the criteria that this board approved, that they are 12 months and $1,000 or more behind or in arrears. We are targeting them. Customers that are 30 days behind aren't getting a letter.
That's true. They're not. Yes, you have to cross that $1,000 threshold, which is typically, on average, there's no date associated with that $1,000, but it's typically about 4 quarters of missed payments, typically. But we're not measuring it based on time. We're measuring it based on dollars. So yes, we're getting letters out at a $1,000 threshold. That's true. But in between that, no, they're not hearing from us. If you miss that quarterly payment at day 31, but your balance is $600 or anything less than $1,000, you are not hearing from us, except when you get your next quarterly bill. That will be on there, obviously, as a rolled forward balance.
Either you can jump in.
So the current billing system is limited in what it can and cannot report. It is very difficult, the way it's set up, to give you the precise data that you're looking for, okay? They don't track the receipts in that manner. They track it on a transactional basis, and a particular payment is likely to pay both current and delinquent or past due charges, okay? What I think you're asking for.
They are still flagged for past due and current.
So there is no, I don't believe there's a flag in the system that Damon can simply run a report that says this select group of accounts has paid this much and this is delinquent and this is current. In part, this is why we've been working with Veolia to try to get the database. Because we would like to open up that and provide custom reporting on those types of metrics. Presently, I don't believe Damon can actually do that in the current billing
So
system.
you're referring to the database that was requested?
Yes.
Or are you referring to the new software that's?
No, the database that's requested. The new software, which I also recommend you move forward on, but that's a different discussion. My guess is that would provide you much greater flexibility
Right.
to do all of this with the new software. But the current software is 25, 26 years old and is very limited.
Stephen, when you have that database, will you be able to pull that out?
That's our intention. I believe we can
Or close
because
to it?
every single transaction has a date on it. It's just that there is no reporting functionality to pull that out of the current
Thank
system.
God we approved that amount for the rest of the year.
Wow.
Mr. Sykes, could you have Enhanced write a script to deliver? What's
program.
being asked here? What's the viability of that? What would it take and what would it cost?
I can do that. Yes, I'll do that. I just want to make sure I know specifically what the ask is, and we'll build a program around it.
Yeah, okay. Just try to see if we can. Everyone's chasing track. Yeah. All right.
All right. Hey, and when we look at the actual service revenue versus the budgeted revenue, page 6, you'll note in November, we were 2.4 million off budget. January 26, we're 1.3 million off budget. Extrapolate that out, perhaps we're gonna make budget. That's what the numbers are telling me, if this 2 months continues.
Can I comment? So Damon and I talked yesterday about this. The gap between actual collections and budget has shrunk by about almost $1 million in the last 2 months. Wow. So each month, it's gotten closer and closer to budget. So if David is making remarkable progress, if this continues, you may exceed budget.
And David, that's where I'm going with this. We know like that this program is having results as far as people paying what they are in arrears for, and then probably current as well, or that revenue wouldn't have jumped like that, so, okay.
Furthermore, just looking at some of our affordability programs, we actually had a spike in affordability. Customers signing up 61, which makes sense. A lot of customers are calling in for payment plans because of the threat of the turnoff. Picked up 102 payment plans last month. So the customers are calling, we are working with them and, doing the best we can.
What do they pay it over? What period of time? Is there a period of time that you set up or no? For the payment plans? Is it 12 months?
We actually have a policy. I'll give this to you. This was approved in December, updated in December, and these are the guidelines that Veolia is working with right now, which defines that.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, that's all right. Really, I want to talk about some significant projects going on at the plant. Doug, can you take us through the wash water?
Sure.
And then we'll jump into, obviously, distribution. We need to speak about that a little bit.
Sure, Doug Phillips, Veolia Operations. So we're continuing to work on the 16-inch wash water supply in the filtration plant. We've engaged Quackenbush. We have everything excavated. The plan is to actually sleeve the existing 16-inch with a welded stainless steel line to restore normal operation. Everything is prepped and ready to go, so we anticipate materials being shipped on site today, tomorrow, next week. We can start welding the pipe in place and restore that connection.
How that does turn out?
Good. Other thing, just in distribution, obviously you've seen the news, we've had quite a few breaks. This is the season for water main breaks. I just want to give Mike and his crews some accolades. They did a great job. I mean, it was
Tough conditions.
The conditions by themselves were difficult, but we were able to restore the 36-inch and get it at least temporarily restored within 36 hours, I think approximately. So great job on that.
When you dug it, they had it back at the end of the day once they got it disposed.
Yeah, I mean, we were up and done within 24 hours, or 48 hours.
Mike, was part of the issue of excessive flooding because the receivers were
plugged or they were covered or?
There's
Sewer
a
receiver.
little of both. This was a large blowout on the
Right.
backside of a T, a tremendous amount of water. Hurdle and Military is kind of high ground. All the water goes down into the viaduct there and,
Yeah, it goes down before it goes up.
so it sits in a valley, so it's just a lot of water, not a lot of drainage. We were overtaxing the sewers. Once we got that water shut down within a couple hours, it receded quickly. It just, you know,
But how about more standard ones? Because I mean, it was so cold, a lot of the receivers were covered.
yeah, so like Hartwell and the break we had on Letchworth that flooded Holly, that was all just due to sewers. It's not because the break was catastrophic or
Right.
anything. It's just the
Nowhere to
water
go.
was nowhere, not getting to any receivers. Right.
So basically like a swimming pool almost with
Yeah.
the snowbanks.
One other question I asked Steven last night, but I wonder if we can get it. The age of the 36, do we know that offhand?
1932.
1932?
And the inner joint seals were gone and
Yeah, so there was a rehabilitation on that pipe.
Yeah.
They did cleaning, lining,
Internal
and
joint seals.
inner joint seals.
So you slip lined it?
No, they cleaned it and they cement mortar lined it, and then at every joint, they went inside and put internal joint seal that expands and seals off that joint from leaking.
What's the material? Is it
cast iron.
cast irons?
That's cast,
But it was at a T, you said?
Yeah,
which is
an actual
thick.
key blew out.
Like
So
you
it
were
wasn't
saying.
even a pipe failure, it was the
Fitting.
And fittings are beefier than pipe.
twice as thick.
But I think what's being missed here a little bit, from public's perspective and customers, is the extreme cold, you know. This could have been a 50-year-old, 30-year-old mine, that if it's doing this, you know, that pressure, you know, it's sinking or going up or whatever, it's gonna pop.
The break that we had on Hartwell was 1998 pipe.
That, okay.
And that was a
made an
valve
idea.
that failed. Again, it was newer pipe, we haven't had any failures on that until now,
Okay, no leakage.
but
Was it the top of the valve blew out, actually the
the
hardware?
bonnet separated from the body. So,
Was even a pipe failure?
rotted bolts or,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Military.
line hurdle. We did.
It was 1936.
Could it, the coal get deeper because it's at the valve and there was actually freezing on the top of the valve? Or is that not possible?
No, I don't think that's
No, okay.
typically what would happen. It was definitely a depth, 60 inches. There was a cover on the valve that we know of. The ground should produce enough heat to keep going that good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and we weren't the only water utility experiencing this. There was-
No.
ECWA had like 18 going at one time. You know, that really excessive.
Also, just for a little bit of science, water, also, we're dealing with some changes in water density. Water is the most dense right before it's the least dense. So right before it freezes and when we're at that mark pumping, water's, the density increase can have an impact in increased stresses on your distribution system. So, and we're right there, the lake's frozen, the water's coming in just above freezing. So, you know, our pipes are seeing that. What the effect is, I don't know, but that's some of the discussions out there from some of the technical people.
Right, I just think, you know, there's a lot of, it's been around for a while, but, you know, and then the headlines, ancient water infrastructure. We have wooden lines and, you know, and we're also.
No more wooden lines.
Right, and we're also, we're about to do $400 million in infrastructure. So the investments there, I just want to, you know, get the awareness out there that this isn't simply infrastructure. It's climate and weather events as well.
Also, just wanted to mention that there was no, after we got this pipe shut down, there was no customers affected with the shutdown. So, you know, everybody maintained their water
Very good.
once we got it under control.
Okay, once you isolated it.
Yep.
Okay.
Where in other towns and areas, once they get it shut down, they don't have any.
Well, yeah, we've got a robust system and we're able, I mean, this is a transmission main. No
Yeah.
customers off of it.
Yeah.
Main line and it feeds.
But it's feeding other.
Feeds
Right.
distribution
Right.
system.
Right.
When you close that out, though, you're forcing all the water through the distribution system and around the break. Puts a little more stress on everything else around because you're not using your primary transmission main. So just keep that in mind.
Okay,
That's it, Peter. Thank you.
thank you, David. Any other questions?
Peter, I just wanted, Mr. Liss is here, our rate consultant. Do you anticipate next month, the final report, the rate consultant report?
Yes, I know I'm not on the agenda for today, but we actually, I've put together a rate consultant report. We actually had a meeting yesterday with all the bond counsel and lawyers and everybody else, and we went through my report just for questions. There were a few questions. I had a couple typos that I fixed. I actually do have a report in front of everybody that's a copy of the report. And for this, it's a preliminary report. And a lot of the future rates and everything for the future years are all based on this debt issuance and then another big debt issuance the following year, which we don't know the real timing of those things. So that would really affect any of my numbers. But I think with my report, they're within the guidelines for the debt service. And then Stephen and I will probably be working sometime in March to actually do new numbers probably, because we'll have more information, especially this $1 million more of revenue that you received here in January compared to January of last year will really help with my projections for some kind of evaluation for a July 1st number that we would need to keep within our bond covenants. But this is just a draft, but I wanted everybody to just be aware that it's out there for the board here and for the debt piece. And we're trying to finalize it, so we'd have something for the next board meeting.
Stephen or Peter, for the CIP, was the 6th year, was that this year?
It includes,
25?
it includes this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this year plus 5 additional.
What was the?
So I always want to
number?
have 5 in
389.
projection, the 6 being the one we sell, because we're actually delivering those, so we took it
But
out.
for 25, it was how much?
82.8.
This sale is
Yeah.
82.8,
82.8, yeah.
and
It's
then
actually,
next year is about 75, I think, or
83, no,
83, that's right,
yeah.
yeah.
actually, I have it in,
6-year total is what, Stephen?
I think it's about 389 million, I think is the number. If I
And we're
recall.
gonna continue to push that on distribution as we continue to evolve that program.
yeah, that
You're gonna
fifth
see
page
more and
that you're
more
on there,
investment in
yes.
distribution.
And
I think we need to
then
push
this
that,
bond
Stephen.
issue, though, it says 83 million in capital, but the bond issue is gonna be about 88 million, because when you start getting that high with the bond issue, they require a debt service. So there's about $5 million of a debt service fund, which actually is part of the bond, which actually gets put into an account and then is used for the last payment of the bond.
So when you say debt service, that's the debt ratio coverage?
Well, the debt service is the debt.
Right, but I guess, because I'm curious on this, for another item.
Yeah.
Two items here.
What is the ratio for these, the debt ratio?
1.15 is the minimum.
Minimum, right.
Okay, what Roger's talking about, there's a debt
Right.
service reserve of almost 5 million or maybe over 5 million
$5
in this bond sale. So you're bonding 5 million extra, but that will be held in an account and used to make the last payment. Okay, so it's not spent. The debt service coverage, which you're talking about on an annual basis, Roger has that calculated in
Yeah.
there.
It's the very last page. One more. Right there. On the bottom is the debt service coverage ratios. The projected debt service coverage ratio is 127 up to about 148 for all those years.
Roger, can you explain this a little bit to me? Because I'm very curious about this. This is for another item, but it's parallel. So because these are in the debt service coverage, would it be more when there's physical structures versus a revenue type deal for a bond sale. So, and not for the, just think of this as the water board, so, I mean, why does it go higher? If I had a revenue-based deal, just revenue-based, because it wasn't really, we're selling or bonding out for physical structures.
Okay, so you're just using the revenues to pay for your
The revenues are
infrastructure.
proven to be there.
Right, yeah.
That debt ratio would be less,
It
correct?
would be less, yes.
Right.
Yes, because you're just using your inflows and your outflows, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
I can give a comment as well. There is some past practice, policy / informal policy that this board has held in the past, okay? So it's always been the practice that you satisfy your minimum required debt service coverage on an annual basis based on reserves, okay? And that minimum is in your original bond resolution. So that's your covenant. You have a covenant which
So
says
reserve is
you,
1.5, not the 1.15.
no,
Oh.
the minimum covenant says 1.15 is where you'll be, okay? So your practice has always been on an annual basis to generate sufficient revenues in that year to meet the 1.15. There is an additional allowance that if you hold reserves funds that are in excess of 10% of your annual O&M, those excess reserve funds can flow into this calculation and increase your coverage. Okay,
That's what I meant.
that's the practice. So the practice has been to show a actual coverage of 1.5.
Right.
But that's counting reserve funds, which are not spent.
And the market responds to
But
that.
who sets
Yeah.
the coverage ratio?
Usually the bond issuer.
The issuer,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Well,
No, this
Well,
isn't,
the
like,
bond-
this
no,
is,
no, I think it's, again, sorry, I'm
Yeah.
out of step here,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
You have a covenantal requirement of 1.15.
Yeah.
The board has accepted a policy
Sure.
to report 1.5
Yeah.
because that is what the market sees very favorably.
and I'm not asking about the board's coverage. This is about the parking authority, okay?
Yeah.
That's why I'm dealing with that.
No, but this is, I
Yeah,
think,
but thank
and
you.
Charlie, you know us, and Roger, sorry if I'm out of bounds here,
No,
but
no,
I
that's
think
right. I
the
appreciate it.
1.5 was a policy target using
Right.
reserves.
Right.
Okay, so the minimum rate increases in the past have always been so we achieve a 1.15 on an annual basis from reserve, from revenues.
From revenues, right.
Okay,
Right, but what I'm saying is, when you go to the market, the bond issuer is the one determining that coverage ratio.
no,
No, usually
No.
we are, yeah.
no, you have a covenant. and
You have a covenant.
You have to meet your covenant. So I think the underwriters and the bond holders, they look favorably when you have a higher ratio.
Right.
And they may offer a lower interest rate because it's a secure debt.
Right.
I don't think they mandate.
With the higher ratio, the less, like, let's say you go to the bond, the less money you're getting. Like for a sale of something, right? You're like, we have a debt ratio coverage of 2.5 versus 1.5, there's less money coming in on that transaction.
I don't think it's tied that way.
No, I think it's more tied to the interest rate. Would be that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so if you
Well,
have
the
a
interest
lower,
rate,
if you have a lower debt service coverage, compared to what is favorable to them, then you're gonna probably pay a premium.
Interest rate.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
premium
means more
interest
is going towards the P and I, so the sale is gonna generate
Less
less
money.
responsible for.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted clarification on.
Yeah.
No,
No, that's fine. Yeah.
It's, the board has walked through in the past year a difficult financial time. Like this ratio, we've got closer to this ratio than we have in the past.
Yeah.
And that's why the previous rate increase you approved and this bond sale are so critical because it's helping us dig out of this financial kind of rut, let's just say. And the collection activities, which Yoli is implementing.
Right.
So,
And that's really helped
Yeah.
my projections these last couple of months.
Right.
And that rate increase in October, because I don't think you would have made.
Right, that's showing more revenue coming in the future.
Well, and the thing is too, is that the last bond issue you had was 23. So, and a lot has happened since then. Costs have skyrocketed. you know, we have to be in line with that, going forward. Thank you. So I figured I just wanted to just do like a little overview like that. I think we're within our percentages. Everybody seemed to be happy on the call yesterday. And we're just going forward. There's just a lot of, Steve and I have given our notes to the one Michelle for her. She's writing up the whole bond document. And we got her a bunch of the information yesterday. And I think we're still waiting for one thing from Bill Ferguson. And I'm going to help him out for one other schedule. And hopefully we'll have that in pretty good shape for like April.
Early April sale.
Early April sale, yes.
Well, we appreciate you hopping in with 2 feet, you know, pretty quickly.
Yeah,
thank
I've
you.
been in a lot of meetings, which is good. Yeah. I've learned a lot about water too. But thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Roger. Any other questions, comments from the board members, anybody here or anybody on the call?
Peter, I would just like to report on the, last month, the water board approved the amendment to the financing agreement to put forward the capital improvement plan and the bond financing. In a little while this morning, the Buffalo Municipal Water Finance Authority will meet and hopefully also approve the amendment to the financing agreement. And that then will generate a notice that we will publish in the Buffalo News and the New York State Register that essentially says that you, all three with the City Common Council, have approved the amendment to the financing agreement. And that will lay the foundation for going forward with the bond financing, which currently is scheduled to happen on April 2. Before then, there will be a preliminary offering statement or official statement, and then the final official statement will be issued. Those documents will be presented to you most likely at your next board meeting. So you'll have them for approval. Those will be the instruments that will allow the public to learn more about the water system, the water board, the rates and structure, so that they can invest in the bonds that are going to be issued. So just to give you a sense of what the timeline is going forward.
Thanks, Charlie.
Any other questions or comments? Charlie, you good?
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, thank you. Our last item is a motion to adjourn. Do I have that motion?
I'm gonna make some
Oh,
motion.
I'm sorry. What's before, thank you, Jack. Our next meeting is March 11th. I'll make sure that everyone is aware of that. And now, did I have that motion to adjourn?
I'm gonna make some motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Yes, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, board.
Thank you.
What was it, meeting?
March 11th. Thank you, Jack, for that reminder.